hypnosis. You think I'm ready to be back in public again? You need me to hide myself, 'cause I can't show you anything else. Just put that all away and pretend for me. 'Cause when I put that mask on, I'm not human anymore. 'Cause when I put that mask on, I'm not human anymore. I'm a kiss until you die, die, die. 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 I'm frustrated, over-medicated. You got me feeling like no one really cares. You need me to hide myself, 'cause I can't show you anything else. Just put that all away and pretend for me. 'Cause when I put that mask on, I'm not human anymore. 'Cause when I put that mask on, I'm not human anymore. I'm a kiss until you die, die, die. I'm a kiss until you die, die, die. I'm a kiss until you die, die, die. I'm a kiss until you die, die, die.
Hello. We are live. How's everybody doing tonight? Am I coming through loud and clear? Let me see. Yes, I am coming through loud and clear. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody's doing well. Doing a patron stream tonight. Can hang out with some patrons and talk movies and whatever else pops up. So without further ado, let me introduce who I've got with me so far. Loud and clear. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. Happy birthday, Ellen. And happy birthday to Richard. 43 today. Very nice. Joining me tonight all the way from the UK, the real Fifth Beatle, Mike. What's up, man?
What's good, man? What's up happening? Feeling good?
Looking good, feeling good. There you go, man. That's what it's all about. Also with me tonight is author. He's got a lot of erotica out there. Lauren, what's going on, Lauren? You're muted, buddy.
Well, you know, it happens. he just said erotica, and you know, it became a whole different stream for me, so I best not speak too quickly. I'm good. It rained today. It's cooler up here, finally. I'm pretty happy about that. Everything out there needs the rain, believe me. My lawn is looking more brown than green at the moment, so.
Yeah. It's very hot, very humid here in Kentucky lately. Very sweaty, sticky. Don't like it. But it's summertime. So.
Yep.
But yeah, let's see who else is with us so far. We've got Brian Trash out there in the chat. What's up, Brian? Cable Channel 11. I believe that's Jess. Cable Channel 11.
Just,
Yes, it is.
Borderline 11. What's up? Nico. What's up, Nico? How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. We got Jay the Stingray out there. I think Stingray may be joining us here momentarily. DJ Donnelly. What's up, DJ? Josh West. Hello. John D. What's up? How you doing, buddy? Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Lauren writes Twilight fanfic, says Jay.
Well, got to make a living somehow.
It sells. It sells, you know. Good money in that.
There is.
Good money in there. Joe Bob Tar Heel, what's up? So what's going on? Have you guys seen any good movies lately? Mike?
well, we're going to
in a
talk.
little
I
little
know.
while.
I fell asleep before your last stream, unfortunately. the unfortunate problem with your streams is if I'm working all day, I have to have a sleep before the stream, and if I sleep through, I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was just the end. It was the end of it. But I did see Censor. I'm sure we're going to talk about that. I've got issues with it. Are we going to talk about that later on, or are we going to talk about it now? Or
We can go
because
ahead. I mean,
you've both done reviews, haven't you? So I thought maybe is it going to be something discussed later on, or are we going to talk about it now?
I say we go ahead and let's just talk about it right now. All three of us have seen it. Let's go for it.
Okay, so I'll give my take. It won't be as eloquent as Lorne's, I'm sure, but my take on it is I really enjoyed the aesthetic of it. I like the 80s setting, 1984. The contrast between the greyness of England's always grey, but it's particularly grey in the mid 80s, and the contrast between that and the sort of more like dreamlike sequences with like it's almost like Mandy with those neon colours, which is those neon colours are they always remind me of like an 80s that never was, which we can't remember. You know, when you watch like those old, you know, those videos of like music videos, and they remember the 80s as like all these neon lights, like Blade Runner. That was never the 80s that I remember. The 80s that I remember was grey and brown and drizzly, but it kind of gives you like this idea of an 80s you never really was, but you kind of want to believe was. My main issue with the film was I was more interested in the BBFC and the challenges they faced with but what I wanted to see, which wouldn't have been a horror film, would have been the BBFC and the issues with the media. And you know, and Mary White, if anybody knows who Mary Whitehouse is in the 80s, she was a very divisive character. Instead we got like this subplot of a missing sister, and I wasn't really interested in the missing sister. I would have preferred to see, you know, something dealing primarily with her job. That's just my take. So
Go ahead, Lauren. What were your thoughts on Censor?
Well, I went in with very high expectations. And they didn't quite meet my expectations, but they came so damn close it's not funny. Right now it's sitting at my second favorite film so far this year, under Saint Maud. First off, and this isn't an attack, because we're going to get there. This is going to get heated soon. But you got to be careful to not review the film you want a film to be, and to review the film that's actually looking at you. Because I think there's a lot of different ways that Censor could go that would satisfy different people's just what they would want to see. There's a great documentary right now on Shudder that handles the video nasties really, really well. So if you want that, you can easily get that. That's not a problem if you want to just revisit that time period. And I think that's really compelling. But there's things in this movie. It's an existential mystery, kind of almost like a Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive era David Lynch film, but wrapped inside of a very, very different sensibility. And I think a lot of people are taking the easy way out on it, because it's not a complex film plot-wise, but the way it gets there is actually really innovative. And I've watched it twice now, and so much more pops on the second viewing. I think it's a dense film, but it's not necessarily a complex film, and I think that's really cool. A lot of people are pointing out, well, it eventually gets bloody, and they think that's what I'm talking about in the third act. No, I'm talking about how the third act of the film really changes point of view in a fundamental way and nudges you to let you know at this all these checkpoints as the point of view continues to seek in a certain direction. And it's really well done. It's very literary. Of course, you couldn't tell this story in a book form and have it work because it's so visual, as Video Nasties as a context only makes sense. But I think there's a lot of great writing. I thought the dialogue was amazing. I thought the performances were amazing. It's not going to be for everyone, and I get that. You have to like slow burns, and then you have to be kind of cool with really hardcore denouncements at the end of films. But if you're in for that, then I really heavily suggest it.
Dave, since you're out there in the chat, I've got one slug of Dr. McGillicuddy's left. So this is for you, Dave. Oh, that is just what the doctor ordered. I gotta tell you. Oh, good mentholated booze. I love it. I loved, and I can't stress enough how much I loved the first hour of the movie. All of the Video Nasty stuff and sort of the because it's almost satirical in a lot of ways when they're talking about, like, you know, you've got Enid and the coworker, and they're like comparing notes, like, you know, well, you know, the beheading, I'll give you the beheading, but we got to take out that eye gouging. The eye gouging is just too much. They're debating on how much gore is too much gore, and I'm sure those were the real conversations that the censors got in at that time. You know, we'll give you this, we'll give them this much, but then they got to take out that much, and I thought that was really funny. I loved the whole thing about the movie is Don't Go in the Church, and one of the censors is like, oh, there's gonna be no place else for us to go now because of all the don't movies that were out. You know, there were a lot of great humor, satirical kind of moments in the movie. And the whole Video Nasties era is really interesting, I think. And I think they, like you said, Mike, I think they could have done a great, if there was just a satirical kind of film set during that era with censors and talking about these movies and the political climate and everything that came together to make that era what it was. And let me share something here. I want to show you guys. Check out this Stone Cold Fox. That is a little Mary Winehouse right there.
Oh God! Don't
look at that fox.
Piz,
yes.
Do you not think it's fascinating that? I mean, I don't know how aware you were. I mean, you may be not aware of who Mary Whitehouse was in America, but in the 80s, she was seen as like they made fun of her. She was this elderly lady who tried to cancel everything. She was seen as an old busybody. In 2021, everybody is like Mary Whitehouse. Everybody wants to cancel everything. She's become like, she was almost like, you know, before her time. She wanted to cancel horror films. She wanted to cancel sex on TV, and everybody laughed at her. Nobody took seriously. Move forward 30 years, and there are thousands, millions of people who were like, oh yeah, well, yeah, cancel that. And I'm like, have we gone backwards?
Instead of calling those people Karens, we should call them like White Houses. Well,
yeah, or Tippers.
Tippers, yeah. Tipper was a
Tipper Gore would be our analog across the pond.
There you go. You got Tippered. Yeah.
I will say one more thing about Censor is it'd be lost on a younger audience, but you're older. You're older than me, and Piz, you're close to my age. VHS stores in the mid-80s were like crack dens. They were not like blockbuster, family-friendly environments. When you walked in these places, you know, you wiped your feet on the way out. That's how dirty they were.
Yeah. Well, I think they like the video store that's in the movie that Enid goes to, and like they bring her out the brown paper bag that you'd think would have like some sort of horrible porn in it. It's just a horror movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, to get back to my thoughts on Censor, I loved the first hour of the film so much, and the mystery aspects. I do think it seemed to me like the mystery aspects were sort of the subplot of the movie, or I don't know. I enjoyed the mystery aspects because I enjoyed the mystery aspects, but I felt like the movie made me a promise of we're going to solve this mystery at the end of the day. And then after the hour mark, it just said, mystery? What mystery? That's been edited. That didn't happen.
Because you need to rewatch the movie.
Maybe sometime. I don't know.
Give it some time and go back, because there's a couple lines of dialogue that'll clear up, I think, everything when you get them in context.
Well, the one line of dialogue that really sticks out to me was, you'd be surprised what the human mind can edit out when it can't handle the truth. And I went, yeah, brilliant, because I mean, that's the kind of, she's edited out all these memories from her past, and we're getting little, re-edits. So we're getting, glimpses of the cuts here and there that are kind of building up to, what really happened. And then I just kind of felt like it went, you mentioned Mandy. It went to Mandy. It just went kind of over the top, and blood and, psychedelic editing and visuals. And to me, it was just like, what was the whole hour for now? If this is the payoff, and I mean, it looks good. It's fine. But what happened to all the other stuff?
Oh no! See, I completely disagree. I think they pay off everything. I think it all. I don't want to reveal. I don't want to give spoilers here, but
No.
We'll
rewatch it.
I think rewatching it, not immediately because you still have feelings right now, but give it some time and rewatch it. I think you may feel differently on a second watch.
Lauren, have you seen A Field in England? I
have.
Yeah, so the piece of music at the end of Censor, which is an amazing piece of music, used a far better effect, I think, in one of the most chilling scenes I think I've seen in horror in the last 20 years is in A Field in England, the tent scene, where that the same piece of music is used. Also the same actor as well, Michael Smiley, who's in Censor, is in A Field in England. It's one of the if you've not seen A Field in England, highly recommend it. Fantastic. It's Ben Wheatley. He directed Kill List. Yeah, he directed Kill List. Great. It's a fantastic film. It's black and white. It's set during the English Civil War. It's very druggy. They're all on mushrooms for the entire film, but it's got some really, really great sequences in that film. But the piece of music, that amazing piece of music at the end of Censor is used in A Field in England, and it's just so good.
Cool. I'll put it on my list.
I think it's a film that people are going to come to in their own time. It definitely will play better for certain types of fans than others. I mean, that's just kind of what it is. If you tend to like the more goofy side of horror, Censor is going to be a rough watch for you. Definitely. And that's not to say that that most people don't like the silly and the more serious side of horror, but if you find yourself edging more towards the campier stuff, that's not this. Not at all. So just be careful about that.
But it did have it had a good sense of humor about itself for most of the film. Again, I think if
there's a satiric edge to it, but it's not like goofy dumb humor.
If you made like a full satirical movie just about the Video Nasties era, it'd been perfect. I think it'd be a great movie.
That's a review of the film in your head, though, not the film they made.
Well, no, I'm talking about making a separate movie that's just about this era with a satirical take on it. I think would be freaking awesome.
Well, you should watch that documentary that's on Shudder about the Video Nasties, because it definitely has an attitude about it.
What's it called again? Because I know there's two different Video Nasties documentaries. I've not seen either one of them. What's up, Jonathan?
How we doing, folks?
How you doing, man?
Hey,
And
Jonathan.
Sting of the Scorpion mentioned a book called Nightmare USA. Anybody read that? Is it good?
I have it somewhere. It is. It goes through the list, and it basically breaks down the films and the troubles and how it's arbitrary because there was films that were far worse out, and it compares, which is the really cool thing. Is that they don't say. So they cut Maniac for having this gunshot scene, but in this film, which got passed without a problem, sailed through.
Mm-hmm.
So did you have the same issue in the States as what we had? Did you obviously have a censor organization who do this sort of stuff? So
we
The
don't
MPAA.
have, well, but we don't have a government censor.
Right.
right.
So you can release any movie as long as it doesn't break obscenity laws, which would be, I don't want to use words to get Piz's stream taken down, but as long as it's not illegal to begin with, then you can release anything you want. But the problem is advertisers until very recently would not take on anything that didn't have an R or less rating, and certainly not anything that didn't have a rating. So you could put your movie out, but no one would ever see it, and most theaters wouldn't book it. So because there was a kind of a economic censorship in play, there was a lot of power, and the MPAA was kind of pseudo-governmental in a way because Jack Valenti was the head of the MPAA for 4 decades.
Yeah.
And to give you an idea how rooted in government he was on Air Force One when Johnson was sworn in after the Kennedy assassination. He's in the famous photo.
He was also seen in the Texas Book Depository. I'm not trying to draw lines here. He was in the Texas Book. I'm just making that up. Jonathan, have you seen Censor?
I have not.
Okay.
I got Lauren's take on it, and I'm not going to rush to it because I have a feeling it's just not going to be for me. Like, it's just not going to be up my alley.
Well, it's in select theaters now, and you can rent it on Amazon Prime for like $6. So
I'll get around to it. It's just
I still recommended it, even though I kind of was disappointed in the last act. I still thought the first hour was strong enough to at least make me torn about recommending it. So
the documentary is called Video Nasties, Moral Panic, Censorship, and Videotape.
cool. Well, if you look on that, you can look up the Video Nasties list of all the. I think there were 72. And if you go down that list, most of those movies, especially even by 80s standards, were like, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or like Friday the 13th. There's a lot of movies on that list that, by today's standards, are completely super tame.
oh, here we go.
But it's an interesting list to look at, and what's funny about Chainsaw Massacre was like banned until like 99.
Well,
So I mean,
in
it
England,
was,
in England, it's not even a matter of banning. If you do not earn a certificate for release, you don't get released.
right.
So someone has to present a film for certification. So the problem became like getting a company that wanted to go through the trouble and the expense year after year. And yeah, for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I imagine there probably was someone out there going through the motions. But for a lot of films, I mean, if you have Don't Go in the House Alone, what's your upside? What's your profit in London and England? Because frankly, you're not going to play the suburbs. You're going to play the cities.
Right.
How much money are you really going to make?
I'm a bit ignorant when it comes to this stuff. But I just pulled up that list, and it says prosecuted films and non-prosecuted films. Were there obscenity charges brought up for some of these films?
Some of them did violate
Yeah.
the obscenity laws. Yes.
So
See.
distributors would actually release films that were not did not have a certificate, and at that point, yeah, they would confiscate and destroy and prosecute. Pretty hardcore.
And what was funny
burning.
too is, there were some films that they were edited so that they could be shown in theaters, but then they wouldn't certify them for home video. So you could see them in the theater, just not on home video. Or you had to do the, go behind the, kind of give the video store guy an extra, I don't know, extra few
Wow.
pounds, and he would go around back and bring out a brown paper bag with your movie in it. You know what I mean?
Mike,
Wow.
did you rent a lot of Dutch releases back then?
No, no. I was too young.
See,
I wasn't even allowed.
This is really what the revolution was about. Is we saw this coming. We just went ahead and cut ties right there.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
That's wild, though. I didn't realize it was like obscenity charges.
Yeah,
and
Nico
whatnot.
makes a good point here. Cannibal Holocaust almost landed Ruggiero Deodato in the slammer.
That's true.
He had to literally, the cast of the film had to show up in court to prove that they were alive.
Well, you know the Charlie Sheen story, don't you, about the Japanese film? Yeah, Guinea Pig, where he contacted the FBI because he thought it was a snuff film, and Charlie Sheen would watch something like that and probably get off on it. To be honest with you,
You know he was coked up when he found that too. He came up from it. Oh my god!
you don't get that film by accident. You hunt that film down. So why was he?
One of the angels didn't just leave that in his house one night. He sought that movie out, and then he thought it was too.
Yeah, even for him.
They that film had a very, very, very awkward release strategy anyway, whereas they dumped unmarked tapes of it onto the market and people would just, literally find tapes, go home, play it, and Guinea Pig was on it with no context, no credits. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure that was passed around as we don't know where the hell this thing came from. It wasn't like the internet was a resource, and I guess Charlie Sheen just took it real.
But that tiger blood, it's like a truth serum. You really see what's going on. So some people in the chat have asked, what's the goriest movie you've ever seen? What's the goriest movie you've ever seen, Lauren?
Aftermath. It's a short. I mean, it's not feature length, and it's just about a mortician that enjoys his job a little bit too much.
Interesting.
And you can get it. It's out on DVD from Unearthed. It's pretty rough stuff. Pretty rough stuff. I mean, people want to point to Cannibal Holocaust or something because of the real animal death, but honestly, I always think that's overblown simply because if I grew up watching National Geographic specials on PBS, and lions were definitely tearing off heads of gazelles,
Right.
So, is it really that different?
What about you, Mike? What's the goriest movie you've ever seen?
I do not like the torture porn, really gory elements. So it's not really anything too. I've seen parts of Serbian film because I haven't got the guts to watch the whole. I mean, I'm a horror fan, but I'm not an extreme horror fan. I don't like the really extreme stuff. So for curiosity, I did watch parts of Serbian film, a certain baby sequence, which just I can't imagine there's anything more extreme in mainstream cinema than that. That is just too far for me. That's in terms of, it's not gory, but it's it's more disturbing than any kill you'll ever see in any horror film.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Jonathan?
I mean, if you just go like straight gore, it'd probably be like, I don't know, like the Evil Dead remake, just like sheer amount of blood, or Dead Alive. But like actual gore would probably be like Martyrs or something. But like the film that made me feel the most like icky was like August Underground Mortem.
Yeah, I've not seen that.
There's pretty extreme gore in that, and it looks pretty real.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I guess I don't know. I saw a Serbian film, and I'll be honest with you, I don't remember a thing about it. I think I edited that movie out of my memory, like Enid from Censor. I just completely edited that sucker out.
I fucking hate that. Sorry. Whoops.
I don't know if you're supposed to like it. That's like a movie. I don't know. Less said about it, the better.
Yeah.
I mean, Dead Alive. When I always think of gory movies, Dead Alive. But I mean, that's like a fun gory movie. That's like a gory movie.
Right?
It's cartoonish. Yeah.
You can just have so much fun.
So much. It's so much gore. It comes back around to ridiculous and funny.
Yeah.
Is that Brain Dead?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't really think of a like a more realistic gory movie.
Like
that I've
Martyrs is
seen
pretty
lately.
rough. Like original French Martyrs is
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah. Martyrs is pretty rough, as I recall. Yeah. I remember this one didn't have anything to do with gore, but it was the movie Irreversible that really just kind of made me feel
Uncomfortable around fire extinguishers.
uncomfortable around everything. I don't think I finished that movie, as a matter of
Uncomfortable
fact.
being alive.
Just uncomfortable breathing. Yes. So I don't really think I finished that one, but yeah. So did you overall, Mike? Did you like Censor? Would you recommend it?
I'd recommend it in terms of like it's certainly, although it wasn't totally for me, there's definitely a market. There would be a lot of people who will just lap it up. They'll love it. As I say, my main issue was I wasn't really sold on the missing sister plot. It just didn't do it for me. I'd say I was more invested in the whole head job more than the sister angle. I would have much rather see. It wouldn't have been like I say, it wouldn't have been a horror film. What I wanted to see, it would have been totally focused on their relationship with the media, because the media at the time, you see that briefly in the film, and the phone calls she's getting. It's full. It's intense. It's full on. It was a massive story. So the idea of this side plot of a missing sister, I'd never really bought into. So yeah, but I did enjoy the film as a whole. Yeah, it's a solid three stars for me.
I just wanted to compliment Jonathan on his choice of thumbnail. Very good choice.
Yeah, that's going to start him off on his impression. There you go.
Oh no, I can't even. My throat can't handle it. It's been Prime Day the past couple of days on Amazon, which is odd because it's supposed to be one day, right? Prime Day, but it's Prime Days. Anybody pick up anything good during Prime Day? See any good sales on Blu-rays, 4Ks, anything really?
Well, there was less there than most years. Period. I did pick up the Cornetto trilogy Blu-ray set for $20 because those 3 movies for $20 is a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
But I was baffled by how little was actually there.
What about you, Mike? Was it Prime Day in the UK?
Yeah. Did I imagine things, or did I see the latest Friday the 13th full series go for £100? Because I was tempted, but I didn't.
Not $99.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's still there, that price.
It's been like $100 domestic for the last couple months. It's hard to find it higher than that at the point. Yeah. It just didn't sell the numbers they expected. It just didn't.
They had it down to like 109 the last time I saw, but now it's at 99.99. And even like the Blu-ray, the 8 movie collection was on sale today. I don't remember how much it
17.
was. 17. Yeah.
So what did you guys pay on release for it when it came out?
160.
Oh really?
Yeah.
And it's going for 100. I just thought they would go up in price. Something like that, I assume, would just raise in value. Just the
quality control was a little messy, and I know something that's keeping people from buying it now is that they don't know if they're going to get one of those sets where they've got messed up discs, or if they're going to get a set that's got 2 part 6s and no part 4.
How does that happen? Really?
I don't know.
That seems like such a big mistake.
Especially a Marquee set, right?
I mean, I've seen. There's probably going to be issues with on something that big. I mean, you can expect maybe there'll be an issue where they have to replace a disc. Something's not quite right or whatever. But when it came to like 2 of the same movie in the same set, or the fact that and I opened mine up too. People were complaining that like their discs had smudges and scratches already on them and fingerprints. And I opened mine up and I looked at them, and it looked like somebody had taken it out and looked at it. There was dust on it. I've never seen that with any Blu-ray release, period. As far as doubles of the same disc or that kind of, I don't know, the quality control was just whack.
And it's only going to get worse for them on price, because when basically the tin box is basically coming back out without the new line discs from Paramount, and that's going to be a third of the price, and that's going to give people 8 movies. There's not a lot of hardcore fans of the later stuff. It's going to be even harder to get even $100. I think that set, they're going to end up selling the remainder of that set even lower still. And that's not me even talking about the shit I have as personal problems with it that weren't strictly quality control issues. So
I think there's some way you can look on the back of it and tell if it's got the replacement discs already in it, but I don't know exactly what that is. So I've had people ask me, how do I know? And the answer is I don't. I mean, that's something you've just got to reach out to Scream Factory and ask, but I know that's definitely why, that's one of the big reasons why people are not buying that thing now.
So,
that's part of the reason why it didn't sell the way that it was, as I thought it would.
Call me, I'm naive to this, but how did they get all the rights to all the movies into one box set? Because you've got Paramount and you've got New Line. So how did they go about the Screen Factory? Have they got like a really big deep pockets to? They
just licensed them.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing more magical than that. They just went and said, how much would it cost to ... and
So yeah, I'm just completely, when it comes to licensing and stuff, I'm just a film fan. So what influence does Sean Cunningham and Victor Miller have on this? On this, do they have any say in it?
I don't think they
make money. They make money though, surely.
Maybe Sean Cunningham, but not Victor Miller, and probably maybe not even Sean Cunningham, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure they get some money out of it, but I mean, I don't know the business side of it like that. I really don't know.
The lawsuit, because that's kind of what we're discussing, does not involve any existing products. It doesn't affect anything that's already on the market at all. What it's a future derivative properties is what will be affected. What is affected actually, because as it stands right now, and as it will going forward, any element that Victor Miller wrote in the original screenplay, he doesn't own the film. That's what people always trip up over. He doesn't own a frame of film out of the lawsuit. He owns his original screenplay. So no one can go and use anything he wrote in that original screenplay without licensing it from him, which means Jason as a kid, Mrs. Voorhees, Camp Crystal Lake as a town, Crazy Ralph, all that's off table to Horror Inc., which is Sean Cunningham and the heirs of Scuderi. But hypothetically, a Friday the 13th could come out, not use any of those elements, and would be legally still in the green. Alternatively, Miller has no right to use anything that he did not create in the original screenplay that became in later films, or even anything that's in the original film that he did not write. So
let me ask you this. Sorry to interrupt, but just in that instance, like if you wanted to write a sequel with adult hockey masked Jason at Camp Crystal Lake, would you have to license from both parties to make such thing happen?
Absolutely.
That's going to make that impossible. You're going to lose. You're going to lose Camp Crystal Lake.
I guarantee lawsuits are not going to end here. What's going to happen is that a deal is going to come across to me. The only way this is, and I can name the company at this point because it's not really that tough to figure out. It's going to offer both sides money to just have an extended license of all the rights in one place. This was always a play for rights. This was not about two gentlemen who hate each other, although they do hate each other. This was always about getting the property under one roof that was not Paramount and is not New Line / Warner Brothers.
Is it a house of some sort?
It might be.
I believe it may be a house that's bloomy.
Yeah. Bloom Home. That's what it was.
Something like that. Yeah. Aaron, what's up, man? How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good, man. What you been up to?
I was just working on I running a campaign for Dungeons and Dragons. I was working on that.
Oh, nice.
But,
Cool.
yeah, I just watched The Stylist last night.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I liked the movie, but you're right about the ending. It like right up to the ending, I couldn't predict anything. But as soon as the scene happened, okay, this is how it's going to end. So it's predictable at the end, but up to that point, it was really good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good movie. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, because back to Friday the 13th, I think Cunningham's made it clear that like everything that's owned under his under him, house and everything, he wants to just sell it all off. He's ready to cash out and I think maybe be done. So
Wow.
I think he's ready to sell.
So let's just like in theory, say Sean Cunningham and Victor Miller both died tomorrow. What would happen? Who gains? And it's a obviously, but who would acquire the rights to what they own?
It's
Is
intellectual
it family?
property.
Is it family or?
It's whoever they will it to. It's intellectual property. It gets passed down like any other property. But I mean, the key to this whole thing is a man named Mark Toberoff, who is an attorney, who is the guy who basically has gotten all the copyright reversion cases. He's been the guy behind all of them. He approaches rights owners, sets the ball in motion, and then at the end of the day, after the rights have been reverted, he helps make a deal with the company. He matchmakes. He did this with Friday the 13th. He's currently doing it with Predator. He did it with Fantasy Island, where he got the rights back to the original creator of Fantasy Island, and then became a producer. And Mark Toberoff is a producer on the Fantasy Island film for a company called Blumhouse. So, I mean, you can figure out what's going on here. It's not. That's why when everyone wants to be Team Cunningham or Team Miller, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. This is all about one company getting greedy and wanting this franchise. So they stopped you guys getting a film for 10 years, maybe 15 years by the time it's over, in order to get control of it.
12
That's pretty
years
much
counting
it.
now. It's getting
That's
depressing now. It's 12 years.
And at the end of it is a subpar sequel.
Oh,
No,
we
it's
get
a
it.
reboot. A reboot.
Oh,
Definitely
subpar
reboot.
reboot. Subpar reboot.
We're in a dangerous situation. We're going to get to a point where modern cinema goers are going to give zero fucks about Friday the 13th, and it's going to be us older. It's 12 years. This is the
They
remake.
had,
It's already close.
they had such a, when the video game was really bumping, when the video game was at its height, and that video game brought so many new people to the franchise and made people watch the movies because they're going, well, who's this Tommy guy that we get to call in to come and save the day? And what's the difference between part 4 Jason and part 7 Jason? And why's part 7 Jason all decrepit? And, was one of the Jasons got a bag on his head? So that's how they got into the franchise. Now the games, I mean, it's not dead. There are still people playing it, but the perfect time would have been, let's settle this at the peak of that game and put out a new movie. It would have done enormous business. Just the name Friday the 13th with Jason in it would have done enormous business. But
they would have made more money as well. Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham would have possibly made more money striking when the iron's hot. Because I said to this previously on a previous stream, is Freddy Krueger is completely irrelevant nowadays. When a few years ago, Jason was like, so he was still like really, really iconic, still like a hot character. But as time goes on, he's going to just drop off like Freddy did, and they're going to lose. They could lose, and they're 80. I don't understand. They're 80 years old. Why on earth? It's just stubbornness. Is it just that? Is that all it comes down to now?
I think they really just don't like each other, and neither one of them want to wave the white flag. So I mean, I guess I don't know. To really break that, you can't break it down simply. It's two old rich guys fighting over a few shekels, and they want theirs. so that they can sell it off to Jason Blum at the end of the day.
Well, Mark Toberoff wants that, and that he's the guy who's really been the whole cog in this works. This would have been completely just procedural if it weren't for him. So, if you want a villain, that's who to look for. I mean, currently he's kind of biding his time, fighting Disney to get Predator back in the hands of people who, if they get the rights back, can't put the Predator in the makeup that Stan Winston created. Think about that for a second. You'll get a Predator movie in which the only future Predator movie that will exist, they'll have to license the makeup from the people they sued.
They could go back to the original Predator design, like the bug-looking Predator.
They don't own that either.
Am I late on this? Go ahead.
It's all just stupid. Here's the thing. I'm a very simple guy, but I'm also a guy who, I know something about intellectual property. I own some intellectual property and some physical property. But if I agreed to write a screenplay for X amount of dollars, even if later on in life those X amount of dollars seem insufficient to what that property has made, I made that agreement. I would simply honor that agreement. I kind of hate how litigious we've gotten with the work of our labor, which once it was worth what we were being paid, and now it's not. I mean, I don't know. I grew up a different way, I guess, but I think you have to respect yourself enough to just go on with life and trust that you can write something new and make that money.
Yeah.
Not to change the subject, but am I late in finding out that the latest Vestron release is Sundown the Vampire in Retreat?
I was actually looking for that. Was that just announced?
It was leaked on Amazon.
Good.
Evidently early for pre-order. So,
if that's true, I like that movie quite a bit. That's a good movie.
I do too. I'd
buy it.
Title.
Yeah, that's a good
Never
movie.
heard of that one.
Good stuff. Bruce Campbell. What's the lady's name? What's the?
So you're David Carradine, Maxwell Caulfield, Morgan Brittany, Bruce Campbell, Jim Meltzer, and John Ireland. Huh.
It's a good movie.
It's
So
fun. Yeah.
If Vestron's releasing it, that's good. I'm all for it.
It's on YouTube in its entirety. So if you haven't seen it, want to watch it, it's out there.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the people who made Friday the 13th the game, Gun Media and Ilphonic, they are making a new video game that is supposed to be Friday the 13th-ish and involve another popular horror character that they've not revealed yet. So is that going to be Freddy Krueger? Is that going to be Michael Myers? Who's that going to be? And if it's Freddy Krueger, if the game can do for Jason, if Friday the 13th, the game can do what it did for Jason, maybe a Nightmare on Elm Street game could do that for Freddy and sort of bring him back to the forefront of, of fandom. So I don't
know. Ellen in the chat wanted to bring up the Saw franchise because they're working on a Saw comic book, I believe.
Oh yeah? Hadn't heard that.
Saw.
I do know Spiral is coming to Blu-ray next month sometime. There's going to be a couple of different editions. There's going to be a nice 4K edition. There's going to be like a 4K steelbook. So, yeah. And did everybody here see Spiral?
Not yet.
Okay.
No desire to really.
It was
Really?
okay.
I would say check it out. If you weren't a fan of the Saw movies or the later Saw movies, I'd say give Spiral a spin.
Hey,
I checked. I watched the first 3 and checked out because I was getting a bit. I mean, I loved the first Saw film, but 2 and 3 just felt, a bit. It was getting a bit. See, the thing about the first Saw film, it was kind of lumped in with that torture porn genre. But it wasn't really like that. It was quite restrained in the violence. It's only with the second and onward films that I think they went on board with the Hostel thing and went really sort of quite out there with the I really liked the original Saw film, but After that, yeah, 2 and 3. I thought I'm checking out of this one. So, but Chris Rock, I'm intrigued by the fact that Chris Rock's in it. So,
I thought Chris Rock did a really good job. His performance has been very controversial. Divisive.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. I thought he did a fine job.
I did too.
So that movie, is that like from the outside in, from like the cops' point of view, trying to investigate it?
Yes.
Because normally they take place in like this funhouse contraption with all the traps, and nothing outside it exists.
Well, the fourth, fifth, and sixth films all have a front section that is the cops. So if you can imagine that as the whole film.
Okay. I don't think, I obviously haven't seen those. I might have seen 1, 2, and 3, and that's it, I think.
I love the second film. I think the second film is by far the best of its series, but I think it's a damn good film. It wasn't written as a Saw film, as a sequel, and you can kind of tell. But I think it's
Where does that fall in the timeline?
the second film.
Yeah. Is it an actual sequel or is it like a prequel?
I mean, after the third film, they all become mixtures of time periods, but the first 3 are pretty much just in order.
Okay.
Uncanny Spirit brings up Dead by Daylight. Freddy's in Dead by Daylight. I forgot about that. Freddy's in that game. Leatherface is in that game, and they added Ghostface to that game too. So they've got everybody in that game but Jason and Michael. So, or no, Michael is in it, isn't he? He is. I think he is. I don't know. I've not played it in a while.
Freddy's not relevant anymore. He's not. I'm sorry. He's not. And as Robert Englund gets older,
I think his fandom is taking a hit, definitely.
And Robert Englund is Freddy. So when Robert Englund goes, and he's not going to come back, unless they can bring someone in who's as good as Robert Englund is, they're going to struggle. It's not like putting a mask on someone.
I don't think, I think the problem is you got to write for your actor. And if you try and write Freddy as Freddy is Robert Englund, then you get a problem like in the remake, whereas a different actor with different strengths, it's just not going to work. It's not the actor's fault. It's just you wrote for a guy who he isn't. And I don't know if there is really a character to Freddy outside of Robert Englund, right? I mean, the first film, he's just kind of the boogeyman old creepy guy, I mean, there's not a character there. It's just Robert Englund brought persona and gravitas to it. And I think that's the problem they have. But my understanding is they're going very, very different direction with the new Freddy, so good luck to them. I'm only a fan of the first film, so they have a good chance to win me over if they just make a film that's better than all the sequels, which they could. But yeah, Freddy's... I don't think kids give a crap about Freddy. I think they laugh at Freddy, if anything. And not with.
Especially if they've seen, some of the later movies. We were talking about the new Predator, the upcoming Predator movie. The lead actress has been cast for that Predator movie. And let me give you guys a peek at her.
Oh, don't.
Keep in mind that this woman will kill the Predator in that next Predator movie single-handedly. There's your Predator killer.
I can see it.
Oh my!
Is she like 5 foot?
She's 5 foot tall.
She will kill the Predator in the next Predator movie single-handedly.
Oh my god!
There you go.
There's a height extra, 4'3". You can see.
I wonder.
There's a height there.
Let me check and see. Is there a height there for her?
Well, she is playing a 14-year-old, so.
She's 20. She's 24, so I mean she's young.
She's playing 10 years younger. Yeah, whatever.
Playing a 14. So it's not even a full grown woman who's going to kill the Predator. It's a 14-year-old woman who's going to kill the Predator. This is getting better and better by the minute.
But she's 24 in real life.
But she's going to be 14 because she's going to prove the young lady who's dismissed by the rest of the tribe can still lead a people up against the biggest dangers they've ever faced.
I don't see a hide on her anywhere,
Okay.
But look. Maybe Mr. Toberoff can get the rights back fast enough that this thing can go into a tailspin and Blumhouse can make the next one.
Maybe he'll drive.
And they have a great track record that's better than this, right?
they
Get
do.
off himself.
And Marbsy, no, she doesn't fire a cannon at him. This takes place. She's a Native American. This takes place.
Yeah, I meant tribe. For real.
Yes, tribe for real. Yeah. So this is. She's going to be using arrows and.
I believe Navajo.
Yeah, there you go. So it's going to be close quarters combat.
Is it set in the past then, or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry, there'll be evil white people. There'll be
I'm sure there will be.
the tribe will be completely sexist, but she'll turn them around and show them. Don't worry.
Yeah.
There you go.
In the 1700s.
You guys think that the Predator was a problem? Just you wait.
No, that was awful.
When is this supposed to take place? Is it
When is it? I mean, when's it coming out, or when's it supposed to take place historically?
what's in the movie? What time? What's the time?
I think right before the Trail of Tears. So
Way back.
Yeah.
Way back.
Okay.
I didn't get to ask Jonathan or Aaron. Did you guys pick up anything during the Amazon Prime sale, which is still ongoing?
I have tried, but I cannot find anything to buy. I really thought there'd be some cool stuff, but
About the Mad Max collection. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine, man. Go ahead.
I bought the Mad Max collection for $20. It's normally $70.
That's good. I hit up a couple days before. They just randomly threw some like Shout and Scream Factory titles on sale, so I grabbed a bunch of stuff there.
They
Grabbed
did.
like Dead Time Stories, The Wizard, Glengarry Glen Ross, the Power Rangers movie, Night of the Comet. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff.
I got the should have thought before I spoke.
Creepshow 2. Sorry.
Christopher Walken movie that comes out in July at Shout Factory. I got that pre-ordered.
Dead Zone.
Dead Zone. Yeah.
Oh, that artwork kills me. That is the worst artwork they could possibly have ever come up with.
You know what? I didn't even look at the cover.
Oh, it's awful. Where's my original one sheet? Just
Yeah, just that'll probably be on the reverse, but still.
it's
I'm
a
gonna take a
Cronenberg
look. I haven't even paid
film.
attention to it.
A crappy rap album.
So here's what's going on Prime Day right now. They've still got the Joker for $12.28 on 4K. They got the Shaun of the
Cornetto
Dead Hot
trilogy.
Fuzz. Yep, there you go.
I'm
That's
gonna go
one.
shop now. I missed the Twin Peaks deal. Like it went extremely fast.
Yeah.
The lighting. It's the second year in a row I've missed it.
ET 4K for $9.99.
ET 4K.
Let's see anything
E.T.
else
Go
jumping.
home and
Ooh.
don't bother me ever again.
They made 5 Dragonheart films? Are you kidding me?
I just knew about the one.
Let's see.
Sorry, I was just blown away. I only know of 2.
Parasite for $9.99 4K. It's a good one.
Chernobyl for $20 4K.
Smokey and the Bandit 4K $10.99. Come on.
That's pretty much like the Bible around here, man.
That Apocalypse Now 4K, depending on how. Oh, wait a minute. That's I'll come back to that.
Yeah, these aren't.
230.
Yeah, these
Yeah.
aren't live yet, right? Fire bottom.
No, these are. It just says buy 2 select 4K titles for $30. Let's see if they've got anything good over here. American Psycho $15, Evil Dead 15.
There's 20% off Shout Factory. Some Shout Factory stuff.
So
Looks like all the good stuff's gone though.
I got Evil Dead 2 4K, I believe, and I had part 1, but I returned it. I bought a used copy of it, but it was it drove me nuts that they didn't put it in widescreen. Like they presented it in full frame. I don't know why they didn't just.
Because it was released.
Ended that way.
Yeah, it was not shot 16:9.
It actually used to be the opposite problem on DVD forever ago, that you could only get the widescreen version.
Yeah.
A lot of 16mm films, just it doesn't make any sense to cut them down any further because you're just increasing the grain. So a lot of them were released 4:3 back in the day. and that's just one of them. You can find versions that they've cropped to 16:9, but you're losing top and bottom of the picture. That was intended. It's just one of those titles. There's not much you can do about it.
Okay. Because I have the Blu-ray, and that has widescreen on it.
Which one?
Evil Dead. The original Evil Dead.
Anchor Bay released a number of widescreen editions. All they did is hack off the top and bottom of the picture, though.
Yeah.
But it almost seems like there's more frame on the widescreen. Like you get more.
No,
It's
you're
not
actually
okay.
top and bottom, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that
Alright.
title in particular, I mean, you got to be careful because, like, you say it about one movie doesn't mean it's true about another, but in that case, it is. I can show you.
I remember that being
last-
a big deal when the 4.3 version was released finally. But
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is what my last few weeks have looked like. The Blair Witch
Ooh,
double
good
set,
set.
with
Good set.
Book of Shadows on blue.
Cool.
John Huston's Phobia, which if you've never seen, it's a great one from 1980. Godzilla Kong 4K, which is an amazing UHD title for colors. It really is worth it. I found a used copy of Beware My Brethren, so I actually got it less expensive than the Vinegar Syndrome sale had it for, which I love this movie too. This is grimy as hell. So I always screw up the pronunciation of this, so I'm not even going to try it. If you've never seen it, one of the most bizarre things ever made, and
Mika.
Sazamika? I don't know. It's a tough one. And that's it. There's something else here, but that's older.
Cool. I do what Ellen. I still do collect Michael Myers stuff. I just there's really nothing new out there to collect. I do have a new mask that should be here around October. That'll be fun to unbox. So,
Yes.
Sorry. I forgot I'm audible.
I recently watched the Viavision imprint Mothman Prophecies release. Any fans of the Mothman Prophecies?
The book.
You like the book?
Never seen it.
I've only seen that movie once, so I don't remember it very well.
That movie had the best trailer that made it seem like a really intense film. And then the movie's kind of like not really that intense.
I really liked the movie. Well, I still like the movie, but I remember the first time I watched it, I really liked it. Because at that time, there were like no positive reviews of that movie. Like everybody just crapped all over Mothman Prophecies. And I really liked the movie.
I thought it was an odd movie for Richard Gere to be in.
It is. It's got Richard Gere in it, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just an odd film for him to be in, though. I do like him in, what's the one with Edward Norton?
Primal Fear.
Primal Fear.
Yeah.
But
And,
yeah, revisiting the Mothman Prophecies, there's still a lot of it that I do like. It's a strange movie because I don't know. I'll get into it in my review. But really, really, really nice Blu-ray release. Lots of extras. Really good release.
It's really just an adaptation of the first 3 chapters of Mothman Prophecies by Keel. So it doesn't even broach very much of the story, which was a smart move. But then they had to do certain things. They had to move around, like when Keel arrives in town and things like that, to make a narrative. And in doing so, I think they made a much less interesting film. So, I mean, the stuff that I do like about it, and I want to like that movie, because I love the Mothman as a concept. But I'm pretty lukewarm on that movie.
And of course, The Stylist, which I reviewed recently. I really liked The Stylist. Really, really good movie. If you've not seen The Stylist, I recommend it.
It's a cool cover.
Didn't she reply to you on Twitter, Piz, the lead actress?
Yes. Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She liked my review, so that was cool.
And the Dead Zone cover is terrible. I'm looking at it now.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. You're right. It needs the original cover.
I probably need it anyway, but I'm thinking I'm going to actually make a cover for myself if it doesn't reverse, because I can't live with that.
I'm sure it's reversible, but yeah, I can understand giving an artist a crack at it, like maybe doing something new and different. But I do like the scissors here, kind of just floating around there.
Oh, it's so compositionally, it is like the worst thing ever. Where's your eye supposed to go in that?
If they'd taken out all of this stuff and just had Christopher Walken there with the wintry background, I'd been like, okay, fine.
Yeah,
But like,
fine.
you know, you've got all this other stuff.
extravaganza. Yeah.
It's definitely a less is more situation.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Still,
just put pieces
I've
of the
got it.
entire film right there in one picture. That's all we need.
There you go. It's like
It's
the whole
the
movie.
worst impulses, these collage covers, man. It's just they always look too busy. They always make the films look dumb and cheap. And in a case like this, a David Cronenberg adaptation of, for that time, one of the classier Stephen King novels. What are we doing? Like, who thought that was a good idea?
Lauren, you're a Stephen King fan, yeah?
Early King, yeah.
Yeah, so where does the Dead Zone like sort of rank amongst the novels? Is that a full story or is it a short story?
Novella?
It's a novel.
It's a full novel.
Yeah. Does it rank? Is it? I mean, because I was like, is it up there with like It, or is it like?
It isn't way up for me. So,
No, I don't really know. I'm just I think it's a great film, but in terms of the novels, because I know with the Stephen King movies, there's a lot of the hardcore King fans of the books kind of have a problem with some of the, you know, the movie releases in terms, you know, so something where
I don't think King. You see, first off, a book isn't a film, right? They're different art forms, and they should be given a lot of leniency both ways. So this, when people say, "Oh, the book was better," well, you know what? You spend, say, 20 hours reading a book, right? You're pretty invested in the situation and the characters, and because you're envisioning it rather than just passively watching it, you grow really fond of the experience. Whereas an hour and a half film is not going to give you that. It's just not. So you do find a lot of people say that books are better, even if they're not. But to me, until about 86, I have a hard time thinking that King fans should be complaining at all about the kind of level of adaptations that were happening. De Palma, Kubrick, Carpenter, Cronenberg. Seriously, one writer gets all that luck. Now, admittedly, after you get past 86, after you get past, say, Cat's Eye, which I like as a film, but if you don't understand it's a step down from those earlier films, come on, right? Obviously, then it gets to be an issue, and you have like.
Do you think there's a possibility that with The Shining, because King hated The Shining, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He hated. Do you think there's a possibility that King was jealous of the fact that I thought maybe he thought because Kubrick could create such a classic, King didn't like the fact that.
Okay, let me put it this way. Let's say you are a bookkeeper for a business, right? And you're a good bookkeeper, but you're conservative. You keep things all in line. It's you do the best job you possibly can, right? And someone says, you know what? You are a really shitty painter. Suddenly you're like, well, I'm a bookkeeper, right? That's what happened to King. He got broadsided by Kubrick, who created something completely different thematically from his novel. And it was uncomfortable subject matter, and he just hated the fact that the thing he did was fundamentally changed, and the criticism was always going to live with him. You know, it's The Shining novel is not about child abuse. The movie is. And that's gonna be an issue for a creator, because you spend say 12 months, 14 months writing something, just like the reader. You put all yourself into it, and then someone says, let's make it about child abuse.
What is it originally about? Alcoholism?
Alcoholism, and it's about alcoholism and feelings of inadequacy as a parent, and that turned into something much, much darker under Kubrick. And I think the film is amazing, but King couldn't take my earlier advice of books and films are not the same thing. They don't work the same way.
Maybe I remember it wrong, but I do remember some of the. I read The Shining, and I do remember him hitting Danny in the book as well.
Yeah,
and
he broke his son's arm. Is the big flashback, right? Yeah, I'm not. When I say child abuse, I'm talking something a little bit darker than, or a lot darker than simply hitting your kid. That's what the film is about. So
I didn't catch it until Lauren explained it to me, and then I watched the movie shortly after, and it's all I could see. Ruined the movie for me. Just
I prefer to watch the movie and turn a blind eye to that stuff. But and I think Stephen King had the privilege of, I mean, like you mentioned, you know, Carrie is directed by Brian De Palma. It's a fairly close adaptation to the book. It's a great
the crucifixion at the end is the same, and you don't get the stone.
Are we back?
Yeah.
It wasn't just me then.
oh yeah, that was me. Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened.
Thank
but
you,
yeah,
Range though. That was cool.
Yeah, it just and it rearranged everybody. That was really weird. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying there, Lauren?
I'm not even sure. I'm still me. I think the body snatcher situation happened there.
Yeah.
We were talking about King films, yeah.
Yeah, about Carrie and you know.
I was saying that the only changes from that De Palma made are very minor. That at the end of the novel, there's a hail of stones on the White House, and Carrie's mom dies differently. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty much a straight adaptation. Obviously, that book is epistolary, and De Palma made it a through-line narrative, but you'd have to, right? I think that's an amazing film. I don't know why anyone has ever tried to remake or sequelize that, because it's a towering work.
You're going to have to go back and explain to me what that word was you used was.
A towering?
Epistolary?
Epistolary? It means constructed through letters. So now the Bible is epistolary because it's from a bunch of different sources, mostly letters.
Huh.
I just pretended like I knew the word.
That is a $2 word, sir. That is.
Well, if I could be paid $2 for that word, I'd be happy. Because I usually only get about 3 to 5 cents a word. So
you might get 2 for that one just because you have to explain it.
I would recommend the Dead Zone though to anybody. I always thought that was a good film.
I'm a big mark for the series too. It's probably not a popular opinion, but I liked it.
I've not seen any of the series, but I love the movie, and I read the book many years ago. I remember really liking the book too. And I mean, to think that Cronenberg directed that, and I mean, that's a straightforward movie for Cronenberg. You know what I mean? When you come off movies like Shivers and stuff like that, this is pretty straightforward.
I never knew he directed that, and I would have, if somebody asked me, I would have never guessed just by what you said.
I mean, it took somebody like Cronenberg to go, okay, so I've got this character named John Smith who's supposed to be the everyman. Let's get Chris Walken to play the everyman. You know what I mean? It was perfect, brilliant casting. You know,
I wish everyman was like Christopher Walken.
That was before he was Christopher Walken.
Do you know who he originally wanted? And the studio looked at him like he was absolutely nuts.
Who's that?
He wanted Stephen Lack.
Oh.
And if you look at the performance, you can completely see he's trying to turn Christopher Walken into Stephen Lack.
I get it.
I'm gonna have to look that one up. Who's Stephen Lack?
From Scanners?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And Christopher Walken did a better job than I think Stephen Lack did.
Oh, infinitely.
Yes. I that's Christopher Walken's show right there. So
Dead Zone is one of those films that no one talks about, and certainly when we talk about Cronenberg, we don't talk about it because it doesn't have as much body horror. It has little, not much, but it's kind of a powerhouse that no one talks about, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, great movie, great freaking movie, great performance from Christopher Walken. Sad movie, but just great movie.
Shame it wasn't on Blu-ray until very recently.
But I'm glad that it is coming out from Scream Factory, and hopefully that'll get it on more people's more people's radar.
I just bought that collection that had it on Blu-ray, which is the only way to get it before. I don't know if I'm going to upgrade or not.
And when you think about the Stephen King adaptations that don't get talked about very much, it's unfortunate that Dead Zone is one of those, because Dead Zone is so good. Like you can kind of understand, Cat's Eye doesn't get talked about very much, but it's not that great.
I think Cat's Eye.
It's fine.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. You know, Firestarter
so.
doesn't get talked about very often.
Firestarter is kind of a mess.
What about the Dark Half? That one don't get talked
The Dark
about.
Half doesn't get talked about very often. I like the Dark Half personally.
I like that one too.
It's fine.
It's a very early 90s. It's so set in that early 90s look is so dated more than any other era, I think.
It definitely is the last time I saw a Romero film and said,
Yeah, I was gonna say Romero did that.
he's firing on all cylinders. It doesn't engage me the way his earlier work does. And partially it's just because the novel's not that great. So whatever.
That's not a short story. That's a full story too, right?
The full novel, yeah.
Okay.
Novel.
Yeah, so Cat's Eye, the James Wood portion of that where he's quitting smoking. Is that a short story or something?
Quitters Inc. Yeah, it's a
Like,
short story.
I-
Night Shift.
I would like to see a whole movie of that. That's my favorite part of it.
I believe that originally appeared in Playboy. I think that was one of King's first big
Really?
sales. Yeah,
Nice.
hey, that was the crown jewel as a writer. If you could get into Playboy, sell a piece of fiction, you got 10 cents a word. It was a big payday, and you got the biggest circulation you'd ever get.
What are some of your all's favorite lesser known Stephen King adaptations? B-list Stephen King adaptations, and not because they're bad, but because they're just not necessarily bad, but they're just not talked about as often as Shining, Carrie.
I love the Langoliers. Like unironically, I love the Langoliers.
Okay.
Aren't we all just gonna say Night Flyer? Isn't that what's gonna happen here?
Night Flyer would definitely be on my list. Yeah, I love the Night Flyer.
Never seen it.
It's really good. I don't know if it's even available anywhere. It used to be on like HBO and Cinemax all the time.
I have
there's
I have the DVD of it. I just never popped it in. It's got an interesting cover. That's why I bought it. But
You should watch it, man. It's good.
Well, for our rockin'.
Yeah, it'd be great.
I think that's
to have it on a
Cemetery or Silver Bullet.
ooh, Silver Bullet.
I don't like Silver Bullet.
Is the original Children of the Corn, is that Stephen King?
It is.
It is.
Yeah, I love that film. I is that a full novel? Is that a short story?
Short story.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because Children of the Corn is part of there's this kind of loose trilogy in King's work of Jerusalem's Lot, Salem's Lot, and Children of the Corn, which is all kind of his kind of vampire Lovecraftian old gods thing, which never went anywhere for him. But he tried to retcon it into the Dark Tower thing at some point. But
Is Children of the Corn any good? I've never seen that.
Yeah. It's Linda Hamilton. A year before Terminator. I think that was I don't know if it was her first big film, but yeah,
Okay.
Linda Hamilton's in that film.
it's a hell of a lot better than anything the series did after it. Let's put it that way.
I like 2. I think 2's not bad.
I like 2. 2's fun. I also like part 6.
Isaac's Return?
Isaac's Return. You're damn right.
Yeah.
Who's the kid that did that was in The Burbs? He played the neighbor.
Yeah. He's in the first one. Malachi.
Yeah, and I'm going to Motor City HorrorCon on July 31st. He's going to be there.
Courtney Gaines?
Cool.
Yeah, Courtney Hain. Courtney. Yeah.
Gaines.
James,
Game.
yeah. My favorite line of dialogue from Isaac's Return. Somebody goes, "Damn your soul," and Isaac goes, "I don't have a soul." Great stuff.
Which is the Children of the Corn film where they go to like the hood? It's like set in the city. It's like Chicago.
That's either 3 or 4. I think it might be 3.
How does that work?
Urban Harvest.
How does it work in a city?
It doesn't work. It doesn't.
We had a different screenplay. We made 3 alterations, and now it's a Children of the Corn movie.
There you go. Pretty much.
It's urban farming. That's they grow on the rooftops now. That's how they do it.
Not so much corn.
No, I was going to say not corn, something else.
Nico wants to know if any of us have seen Gerald's Game. I did see Gerald's Game,
yeah.
and I liked it.
I've seen it. Yeah.
I did not enjoy the novel, so I never bothered with the movie.
I wasn't a fan of the book, but I did like the movie.
I would have liked to have seen a movie based on the big guy at the end of the film. I thought that was the most interesting. He was creepy as hell. That guy, like
Very creepy. Very, very creepy. Yes.
the scene. Sorry, the scene with the glass with the handcuffs.
Oh yes, yeah.
That was a tough watch.
That's a tough one. Graveyard Shift, Borderline 11 says, I like Graveyard Shift. It's got some issues, but I enjoy it.
Saw it in the theater. That's the last time I saw it. I'm good.
Is that
Riding the Bullet? I saw it once. I don't remember much about it.
That was the thing he co-wrote with Chismar, right? Richard Chismar?
I'm not sure. Salem's Lot, of course. I mean, that I wouldn't say that's really a lesser talked about Stephen King one. That one's pretty high up there, I think. A lot of fans of that one.
Well, JT, are you talking about the novella Jerusalem's Lot, or are you talking about Salem's Lot? Because
he might be talking about Jerusalem's Lot. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think actually Jerusalem's Lot is pretty amazing.
Aren't they remaking Salem's Lot or something like that?
Yes.
Return to Salem's Lot is also getting a Blu-ray release.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So
I haven't seen that one. I read the synopsis and I thought it sounded neat, but I've never seen it.
I love Larry Cohen, but don't do it.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It's not what you think it is. I'll tell you. It is a very surprising film. It's just not good, but
Definitely.
it's not just the first film again.
No, it's not. Definitely not. The Halloween Kills trailer. People are claiming that thing's going to drop here very soon. I don't know where people are getting this information. If Jason Blum has been hinting at it on social media or not, but people seem to think it's going to drop. Even some people on Twitter were talking about that it may drop tonight. So I mean,
Lorne, is it true that the entire plot is somewhere on the internet, and you've hinted that you know
the whole script is out there?
Is it? So it's a case of me not hunting it down, because if I wanted to, I could hunt down the script.
Listen, you can find almost any movie that's in production. You can find out whatever you want if you search hard enough.
Yeah.
There's very few well-kept secrets. Yeah, I listened. I had Tim Wagner on my channel at the beginning of the month. He wrote the novelization of it, and was able to confirm with him that everything that I read is correct. So, my position has been reinforced.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a horrible thing, but so if you liked 2018, you'll probably like this too, for the same rose-colored glasses reasons.
I probably won't like it then.
And it has been confirmed. Sundown, the Vampire in Retreat is coming out from Vestron.
Are they keeping the 12 price point?
That would be a good question. I'm not sure. Street date, according to Dawn of the Discs, is August 17th. So.
Then the retailers have to have the information.
Cool. Nice.
We should find out very shortly.
We should find out very shortly.
Nico, King wrote The Talisman with Peter Straub, and then there's The Black House was the sequel to The Talisman. They were supposed to write a third book, but it's nowhere on the docket. So hard reads, though. They're more Straub than King in as far as the prose. So think like Shadowland era Straub instead of like Carrier era King.
According to Amazon, Sundown the Vampire Retreat Blu-ray is $17.99 for pre-order right now. So a little bit more than what they've gone for lately, the last few Vestron titles, but still not bad. I think $17.99. We'll have to wait and see what kind of extras there are on there.
Yeah, I don't care about extras. I want that's a good $12 title, because I would buy it at $12 sight unseen. You know.
That one's worth picking up.
Well, it's always a calculation of how much I'll watch it in my life versus the price tag. To me, and at $12, it's worth it for me because I'll watch it 3 or 4 times more in life before I'm dead. So that's worth it. But
calculate, I like that's about $3 a watch. That's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a bad way to think.
Well, you got to listen. I don't have the room, the time, or the money to just buy everything.
Right.
So you have to have some rationale for your curation of your collection, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Dave, Slaughter Vestron released the Slaughter High Blu-ray a ways back. I believe that Steak Sauce says he just did 3 lines of snow. I hope it wasn't yellow.
No, but he means it's the Canadian rapper.
Oh, Infama.
That guy's related to one of the Bare Naked Lady guys. I guess it's the cousins of one of the singers.
Everyone in Canada is related.
They're all cousins. They're all cousins up there.
It's a very intimate society, if you know what I'm saying.
Nico says, no spoilers. Halloween Kills is my most anticipated film this year.
Sorry, Nico. Have fun with that.
It was his most anticipated film. Not anymore.
Listen. If you want gore, you're going to get it. If you want an action film, you're going to get it. If you want a lot of in-jokes to the existing franchise, you're going to get it again. If you want a scary film, well, you're fucking shit out of luck.
See, that was my point with Halloween 2018, is he kind of took on the personality of Michael from Halloween 2, 1981, rather than the 78 version, because he just goes on a killing spree when he arrives in Haddonfield, which, if you take into account that only the original film exists, he was a lot more cunning and selective in his victims. It's in Halloween 2, 1981, where he just randomly kills people for no reason. Yeah. So why does he do that in Halloween 2018?
Don't hurt yourself overthinking this one.
I am overthinking things.
If you take the series away and the first film exists, basically Michael Myers is a guy who escapes to his hometown, gets insulted by 3 girls on a street corner, and decides to kill them. Okay, that's the plot of the original Halloween. If there's none of the rest of the series, it doesn't justify anything that happens in 2018. It just doesn't.
One more thing about 28. Why does he show the mask to the back of his head? Why doesn't he walk around to his face and show it to his face? Michael doesn't even look at him. I know, but it's like, why wouldn't you just stare in his face and hold the mask? Michael's not even looking at you. So why are you holding the mask to the back of his head?
I got a better one for you. Why would any prison warden say, yeah, let's let him do that? That's a good idea.
That's what I thought too.
The dogs are going crazy.
Characters in that film are constantly doing things. Characters in that film are constantly doing things just to get that next scene to happen. They're not doing things for any good reason. Laurie is just not a character. She's a plot device. And I'm not picking on Jamie Lee Curtis's performance, which is fine given what she was handed, but she was handed crap.
I'll tell you something, Lorne. They predicted social distancing, because if you watch that opening scene, they're all in their little squares. You can't go into that square.
Yeah. I'm somewhat tempted to read that screenplay, but I know I'm going to see the movie. I don't want anything. I think pretty much. I mean, just knowing that it's the middle part of a trilogy, there's certain things that you just kind of know are going to happen, that have to happen.
You're right about all of them.
So it's predictable in that sense. The thing that concerns me the most, and don't say anything, Lauren, I know they're going to have flashbacks to the night he came home, and they're going to have some kind of stand-in or a digital version of Dr. Loomis, and I'm really concerned about how they're going to treat him. And if they I'm sure that's probably how the movie's going to start, and if they treat that character poorly at the very beginning of the movie, it's going to ruin everything for me.
So they going to put him in digitally? Or are they just not going to show his face?
Somebody, I forget the actor's name. He's there on the set dressed in the garb, but I think they're probably going to digitize Loomis's face onto him, kind of like they did in Rogue One with Grand Moff Tarkin and Peter Cushing. So I guess that's okay, but it's all about how they treat the character. So I don't know. I'm concerned with that.
I'm not concerned with that as much as I'm concerned with the rest of the movie.
Okay. And if it's super violent and super bloody and whatever, okay. I mean, I think I can maybe. My major issue with the first one was just, I mean, that movie is so. I mean, like you said, characters do dumb stuff. The movie is completely. There's no energy. It's all. That movie was made in the editing room. That movie was not made on the set. That movie was stitched together. They barely had enough to finish the movie. To make it a feature-length movie is what it feels like. That thing is just so Frankenstein together. I don't know.
It will be really violent. There'll be a lot of action, but I just remind you that both Rob Zombie films have both those elements too.
Well, that's true too. That's true. Now, I will I'll slightly defend part 2, but Rob Zombie's Halloween, the first one, I can't go there.
I like the second film more than the first film in Rob Zombie's case too. But if you're gonna say hire a person to just go crazy, let him go crazy. I agree. That said, it's still really, 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 really low on my list.
I just feel like that movie is violent just to be violent, though. I thought it was just like.
Wait till you see kills.
Well, I don't know. I hope that's not just all of it. It's just violent to be violent, because there's uncomfortably long violent scenes in Rob Zombie's Part 2. It was just, there's like, okay, he's stabbing her, and it's like you're checking your watch, he's still stabbing her. it was uncomfortably long.
That's Rob Zombie. That's just Rob Zombie's.
Yeah. You get a bit of that in House of Thousand Corpses too, where he's shooting that cop and it draws back, and it pans back, and it's uncomfortably long before he shoots the cop.
Right. I think that's a pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Sure.
Scene.
Yeah, it was done well in that, but like I don't know, Halloween 2, I don't know.
Well, let's not fool ourselves. Look at what company was producing those Halloween movies. I mean, I like picking on Rob Zombie's films as much as the next guy, but honestly, could you make a good film in that company?
It's true.
Yeah.
Baby Herman asks about a U.S. Blu-ray release for Saint Maud. I don't think anything's been announced, but you can get the Region B release for like $20 on Amazon. But you've got to be region free. So I don't know if anything's been announced for a U.S. release.
I'll just reiterate that Saint Maud is my favorite film so far this year. I think it's a masterpiece. Stands alongside the best of A24.
It's good.
What's the premise of that?
What?
What's that movie about?
It's a film about obsession. It is a film about substitution anxiety, which is an amazing subject if you actually check it out. It's a film that pretends to be about religiosity, but it's not. It's a film about what a damaged person's priorities how badly a damaged person's priorities can go off the deep end. It's a character study, and maybe the title of the film should have given us all that hint, but it's amazing. Now, it's a sort of understated film, although there's some pretty rough stuff that does happen in it. But if you don't like slow burns, again, you're not going to like this. But I loved it. Seeing it in the theater with like no one because it was COVID time, it was a great experience. And I own the Steelbook import, which I don't usually go for premium editions of anything, but this is a movie where I'll spread.
Is that available on any streaming service or anything?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out.
I think it's everywhere, to be honest.
Okay.
Are theaters opened up in the UK yet, Mike?
Just as of about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I'm going to try and talk really slowly because Stephen Laurie in the chat says he can't understand me because this is America. I thought this was the internet. So I'm going to talk really, really slowly just so he can understand what I'm saying. Yeah, cinemas are back open.
Okay, good. Have you made it out to one yet?
Not yet. There's not much really being released that I want to see. Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Don't want to see that. I'm amazed at how little there is to see, considering we've had lockdown for all this time. There's not really that much that really, and that's for the new MCU stuff looks awful.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the Eternals trailer. Just looks shockingly bad.
Yeah, there's not really been anything, or if there's something playing, it's not playing in any of my nearby theaters that have made me want to go out to the theater. I do think, unfortunately, the first thing I'm going to watch in the theater is that Candyman movie.
When is that?
That's in August.
Okay.
But I don't think there's anything coming out before then that I'm going to want to go to the theater to watch.
Yeah, most of the stuff I want to see is on HBO.
Right. Nico says LA is open for business. That's good. Cool.
It's not the same watching on HBO, to be honest, though. Like, watching Godzilla, it was a good movie, but it wasn't. The spectacle of that being in the theater would have been 20 times better.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Marbsy says Lauren did a great video.
I'm expecting Lauren to say something.
Marbsy's putting over your Candyman video, Lauren.
Oh, the original Candyman, not the thing that's coming out. Yeah, I appreciate that, Marbsby. I don't do enough probably of the autopsies. They are a popular part of my channel, but they require a lot of work, and inevitably a portion of the audience reacts badly to them because they don't want to look under the covers. They don't want to pull up the hood. They just want the movie to be whatever they experienced it to be. So I have to be kind of careful not to do too much of it. But I think I don't probably do enough of it. So
right. I'm looking forward to the Candyman 3 autopsy.
Someone should definitely kill and cut that thing open, yeah. Did you get all the way through it? Because I remember I did, but it took me 2 separate rentals from Blockbuster months apart.
I saw it on like HBO or Cinemax many years ago. I'm pretty sure I watched all of it, but I just remember it being really bad.
Is that the one where, okay, I did watch this in 2 viewings. I'm pretty sure it was part 3, where they have the woman in the white t-shirt and you can see her boobs, and it's like, it just feels like they're showing it just to have it in there. And it was just like, all right, it's nice to look at, but like after a while you're like, let's have a film now.
It's the Baywatch version of Candyman. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's the right one? Okay. It was terrible.
Donna D'Errico, I think, is the star of that one.
Yeah.
And she was a Baywatch lady. So.
Okay.
Yeah. But Tony Todd is back. I think Tony Todd's actually like a producer on that one. So I guess they had to pay him a little extra to get him back for the third one.
Give him a real part of the back end of that film in order to get him on.
Yeah.
But the sets are really bad in that film. Like, that film looks like it was put together on the set of a sitcom, like After Hours. It's awful looking film. And say what you will about the second film still looks like a good film. Yeah. It just has some pacing and character and acting problems. But the third film has nothing going for it and it looks bad.
Yeah. It felt really low budget and bad.
I don't want to venture too much away from horror, but I know Lorne may not be too interested. But in terms of the MCU, do anyone feel like with COVID mixed in with the fact that Endgame was kind of like the end of an era, does anyone else think that like they're going to really struggle to get the numbers back in cinemas? Because I feel like a lot of people who would have checked out with Endgame and have got no intention of really investing in the future films, I think Marvel are gonna struggle with this phase. They call it phase 4. I call it phase 2. For me, phase 1 was Iron Man to Endgame, and I think this is to me this feels like phase 2. and I think they're going to really struggle. I think a lot of people now have just checked out with Marvel, and I think they're ready to move on to something different. And the release schedule, they're not really putting much out in terms of trailer. They seem to be reluctant to put anything out there as well. It's the TV shows seem to be taking precedent now over the actual movies.
Yeah.
Well, they've confirmed today that the television shows are not going to be pressed on physical media.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So it's all about getting the subscribers, and apparently to enjoy the new films, you're going to have watched all the television shows. And that's, I think they think they still have the popularity they had during, the first 3 waves. I just don't know if they do.
No.
I don't know if anyone cares that much.
I think they're throwing like side characters out a lot too. Like I don't know. The newest one, I never even heard of that character. Like the karate one. What was that guy's name?
Shang-Chi, is it? Or
Yes, something like that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel interesting. Like you're not getting a Guardian of the Galaxy or anything.
The momentum has definitely.
The Eternals trailer looks like the Dune trailer. Have you seen the trailer for Eternal? It looks like the trailer for Dune. It's very, and it's just looks. I mean, I've got no excitement for Dune.
Yeah,
that looks boring as hell to me.
It looks like a young adult adaptation of a Dune.
Oh my god, it looks boring.
I like the director a lot, but man, that looks bad to me.
Who's doing that?
Dennis
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve. There you go.
Villeneuve. I think it's Villeneuve.
There you go.
Villeneuve. I'm not sure. One of the other.
Blade Runner 2049 guy.
Yeah, really talented filmmaker. Yeah.
I'm actually anticipating Dune. I think it's a 2-part movie, right? You doing 2 parts?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, there's like 32 novels, so they have plenty of room to work. If you count all the stuff his kid has written.
But yeah, I agree. I think they've waited too long for this. I don't think there needs to be a Phase 4. From Iron Man to Avengers Endgame, that was a great run. Those are great bookends. They ended everything. There was a great sense of finality. I don't think there's anything left in the tank. I mean, I could be wrong, but there just doesn't seem to be the same kind of excitement for these new Marvel entities.
There's certain ones I'm excited to see, but they're so far away. I like Doctor Strange. I think Part 2 looks pretty good. You got Sam Raimi on.
Yeah, Sam Raimi, yeah.
But it's like, how many years away is that?
Oh, good question. Yeah. I want to see another Blade movie, but I don't know if I want to see this Blade movie, and who knows when that one's coming out. So
I'm worried because Blade should be a $30 million production, and it's going to be a $150 million overblown thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of the New Line films are perfect films by any means, but I think they all had a sense of fun and forgiveness to them. Even the third film, which gets ratted on a lot, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But to be honest with you, it's watchable. Mm-hmm. You walk away and perhaps saying it's not as good as the first 2, but they're all kind of watchable and likable films. I feel like they're going to make something big and generic. And broken record time, it just guarantees that it means we can't have anything nice, like, I don't know, a Tomb of Dracula adaptation. We'll keep doing the side characters movie.
Baby Herman says Severance sale this weekend, Kino sale tomorrow. Okay, cool.
Quote Stephen Laurie, it'd be nice if you used your own thumbnail and not someone else's that you've hijacked. I'd really appreciate it.
He's a troll.
Yeah. Well,
he's that. I've seen a few of his comments now. He's been taking the piss, basically.
Yeah. I mean, whatever.
It could be steak sauce.
It's not.
It could be trolling all of it.
You never know.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Anything else on your all's minds?
Everyone's waiting for Lorne. Everyone's waiting for Lorne to say something.
I think you're overestimating my reservoir of ideas.
Wise Guy 100. We talked about Censor at the beginning of the stream. So once we go off the air and the stream archives, we talked about Censor for about 20 minutes or so. So it's a pretty good conversation about Censor.
And your take is correct, Wise Guy.
I have to check that out myself. I wasn't part of that, so.
I try to be droll, but I never troll, says Nico. And Wise Guy also says never bet against Denis. It's not Dennis, it's Denis Villeneuve. So, the Chucky TV series. Nico wants us to know, or wants us to talk about the Chucky TV series. What's the word? Anyone looking forward to it?
Jeremy has to be looking forward to it.
Jeremy's probably looking forward to it, but I'm not necessarily looking forward to it.
Are they going the route of the possessed doll, or are they going to go with the newer AI?
I don't know.
It's a sequel to the series, the movie series, not the remake.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't have the rights to anything from the remake.
Yeah.
So
So I don't know what direction that's going to go.
Is that what they're?
I really don't know. I don't know what direction it's going in. If it's going to be like The Simpsons, only with the Chucky family and the kid. I don't know.
The only thing I've heard is that it embraces and features everything from all of the films.
Okay.
Outside the remake. So all of it's canon, all of it, they're going to lean into all of it.
I mean, it could be good, like with the right tone, the right. I don't know.
What is that, like HBO or Showtime or something?
It's sci-fi.
It's sci-fi and AMC, right? That's the two of them.
I believe. I know it's definitely. Yeah, I think you're right. I know it's definitely sci-fi.
It's two channels that have it.
Yeah.
My thing is this, and this has been true since literally the first film. I've never been excited about more Child's Play. I always look at trailers and advance the information and go, ugh. And then I usually like the movies. And it's shocking how, I don't know, maybe it's because my expectations are always so low when I walk into it. Because to me, still, Chucky will never have anything on the Zuni fetish doll from Trilogy of Terror, okay?
Right.
It's just the standard, the pallbearer for this entire subgenre of killer dolls. But they've always exceeded, with one exception. There's one film I don't like, and we won't talk about it because it's someone's favorite. But they've always done better than I expect them to. In every case, even Seed, which most people hate, I kind of walked out and said, well, that was dumb fun. I kind of thought that was wild. So I have to give the television series some chance. But right now I feel like, it's going to be crap. But I've always felt that way with this franchise. Always.
You'd be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I agree with Nico. I thought Cult of Chucky was great. I really enjoyed it. Curse of Chucky, not so much, but no, you said Curse was right. Curse I liked. I didn't like Cult of Chucky.
I like the ideas in Cult of Chucky a lot. The execution wasn't great.
Yeah.
But I felt that way about Curse too. I felt Curse played it too safe until the very end. But again, my expectations were for films I wouldn't like, and I liked both.
I've only seen the first two films.
Brian says, or no, who was it? Wise Guy says it's going to be about Chucky terrorizing a small town from the synopsis. Okay. Yeah, Ellen. Well, happy birthday. Have a good birthday next Wednesday, Ellen.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, right on.
Happy birthday.
Well, let's call it a night here, folks. We've covered many a topic. Had a lovely conversation with everyone tonight. But yeah, so thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Let's see who's still with us tonight. Of course, Ellen. We've got Jess in the chat. We've got Nico in the chat. We got Dave Vanderhoff in the chat. JT Soul, Brian Trash, Wise Guy 100, Marbsy, over under Avatar 2. If it ever gets finished, we'll have a budget of $500 million. That sounds low for an Avatar movie.
And it's going to make about 42 cents at the box office.
Let's see. Horrid Films was also with us tonight. Baby Herman, Mike Barrett. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun. Mike, thank you for hanging out tonight, man.
No problem.
Always great having you hang out with us for one of these streams. Aaron, thank you for joining us tonight also.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, right on, man. And Lauren, as always, a pleasure.
You can check me out tomorrow night as I have a show with MJ of Let's Talk for a Moment. We'll be on the Visited by Voices channel. And then we're back on Friday with author Gary A. Braunbeck. If you don't know who that is, you need to find out quickly because he's one of the greats of our time. And then we'll have a community show coming up on Tuesday, which is something kind of like this, but probably will go off the rails far further than this one did.
What's going on over on your channel, Mike?
I've just literally done a stream before I came on here. Only a quick 40-minute stream. I did a Halloween live commentary a couple of weeks ago, and I should have a Halloween 2 live commentary coming up in the next 7 days or so. So,
all right, cool. Aaron, do you have anything going on your channel?
No, I don't have a channel.
You do. You just don't use it. But all right, that's
one last thing, Piz.
Sure.
Anyone in the greater Kentucky area, I will be a guest and panelist at the Imaginarium Convention in Louisville from July 9th to the 11th. So if you're in town and like horror fiction or fantasy fiction or science fiction, show up and meet a lot of great people. F. Paul Wilson will be there. Laurel Hightower will be there. And I'll be there. So don't be shy. Come up and say hello if you're in the area.
I was going to ask you about that, but I didn't know if you wanted to announce that just yet. So.
They have, so I guess I am.
Okay. There you go. Cat's out of the bag. Also on the 30th on my channel, if you've not marked it on the calendar, I've got William Lustig coming on to talk about all the great films he was responsible for. Maniac Cop 2, launching Anchor Bay. That'll be a great conversation. What he's doing now with Blue Underground, it'll be a really fun conversation. So that'll be the 30th on my channel, beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So mark your calendars for that one. All right, again, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for being patrons. If you'd like to join me for one of these live streams, follow the link in the description and become a patron today. All right. Have a great rest of your all's night, and we'll see you again in the very near future. Peace.